everyone, and welcome to Wowhead Weekly number 144. This is the second time with me as a host. Hello there, I'm Annie Fuchsia. My main platform is on Twitch, and now I spend some time here with you guys, with the Wowhead community. Before we get started into everything that we're going to be talking about today, I want to introduce my lovely co-host, Perculia.
Hey everyone! Really excited to do another show with the lovely Annie. We've moved the show, if you've been following a while, to Thursdays at 2, so more people can watch and we don't have conflicts with other shows going on. And we also have a special giveaway in chat. If you, Sass is running a giveaway, and it is a TCG purple puffer pet. It's very cute, and the giveaway keyword is puffer. And you can enter throughout the show, and when we start wrapping things up and answering questions, he will be picking the winner. So definitely enter. It is a cute pet, and I know Annie likes collecting things, and so do I. So we love special pets like this. So yeah, most of the show this week is about the 735 PTR, so we'll start with that and like a lot of kind of spoiler lore bombs, and then move into more traditional PTR stuff, and then wrap up with what's going on right now in WoW that you should be doing. So yeah, take it away.
Is there any case sensitivity with that? Because I noticed some people wrote puffer with a capital P, some people wrote it with a small case p. Maybe we want to...
Yeah, I think it's lowercase. Sass 148, if you are reading this, if you can clarify, but I think he typed it to me as lowercase, so let's go with lowercase to be safe.
He just confirmed here that it's not case sensitive, so don't worry guys, go ahead and type puffer if you want to enter the giveaway raffle. We will be rolling for the winner at the end of the show.
Yep. So, yeah.
Yeah, so for people who may have not been here for the past, what is it now, 2 episodes, as an update, Panzer is no longer the host of Wowhead Weekly. I have taken over for now as the host. We still love Panzer. Everything is still 100% awesome, and we still have Perculia here, so at least we got some, like a part of the lovely duo is still here, so it's okay.
Yeah. And we will be trying to do hosts as we get more comfortable in our routine. Not hosts, but we are the hosts. We'll be getting guests, and former host Panzer will very likely be one of our repeat guests to stop on and say hi and help discuss the news with us.
Yeah, definitely. So you can expect to see her sometime in the future as a guest in a future show. So you can still see her. But yeah. I think we could jump straight into some of the content that we have for today.
Yeah. So, our first topic is artifact weapons, and we have some pretty exciting updates for these.
We've got some nice videos to show you guys.
Yeah. Did you put up the spoiler tag? Because I can say a few things about what the video is you want to see, or do you want to show the video first and then
spoiler tag is up. Okay. Yeah, we could just show the video first, maybe. Let's do that.
Yeah. All right. So, spoilers, we warned you.
Spoiler. There we go. Okay. Video has been played.
Right.
So I played the first video where we see, or yeah, you can talk about it.
Yeah, so for more context, what happens at the end of Antorus is that Sargeras throws his sword into Silithus, and now there's tons of toxic waste everywhere. And in this cinematic, we are halting the continuation of the corruption. So we're raising our weapons up, and then we are draining the corruption from the sword into our artifacts, and then that will lead to a version of Silithus where the sword is less red and bleeding and it's just more contained. Now, this is not complete because we've data mined text that Magni will be saying, urging us to use our weapons to drain out the corruption. That's still going to be coming in this cutscene. Blizzard wants to have something be a surprise. So more is on the way. It's not just going to be a nice cinematic with music in the background. There's going to be Magni. And
more dialogue.
I can't do a good Magni accent, but he will say a few lines telling us to use our weapons to save Azeroth. And this raises a lot of questions because now people are like, oh, my artifact weapon is very toxic now. But I'm still using it. So in this next thing we're going to show you, this can explain maybe what happens to the weapon afterwards and continues the stories with it.
Okay, let's jump straight into it. There.
Yeah.
So as you can see in this video, there's... One sec, I'm actually not sure. This video might already have sound. I'm just gonna go here to make sure. I can't hear the previous sound myself, so I wasn't sure if you guys could hear me. But yeah, what you could see there is all the artifact power basically being sucked away, and then the question there is what is actually happening to our weapons. The sound was there? Okay, good. I think it's supposed to have sound, it's just that I can't hear it, so it's impossible for me to tell how much of me you can hear.
Yeah, so what you're seeing in the video as well is the UI is coded to have different speeds at which you lose artifact power, and the severity of the effects and the shaking is based on how many traits you have. So if you have over 80 traits, your weapon is really thrashing around and the numbers are going down really fast, but if you have like 60 traits, it's slower, which the end of the video shows. And there are 4 different instability settings going on there. So
if you maxed out your artifact weapon, you can expect some major shaking and some really scary stuff happening to your artifact weapons. Poor artifact weapons.
Yeah. So I think that from a lore perspective, this makes sense because your weapons absorb something really toxic, and now they're just getting very fragile, and now they're kind of toxic as well. And it makes sense that they go unstable, and then maybe in 8.0, they're too unstable to use. Yeah. But of course, there's the question of, like, how frequent will this be? And like, is this cosmetic or not? Because it'd be really sad if you actually lost artifact power.
Yeah. Well, the weapons do have to be retiring in one way or another, so it would make sense to lose all the artifact power, but it is still like, all those hours that we've put into farming artifact power, and then it's just falling off.
Yeah, and this is also a very like small piece of the puzzle. Like, we don't know if your artifact weapon would like have an effect around it. We don't know how frequently this triggers. I would guess that maybe it's very infrequent at the start of the patch, and then, right before we retire them, they're shaking a lot, but I don't think Blizzard would overdo it because if you have, motion sickness, it would get kind of intense, always having your screen shake.
Yeah, they definitely would have to consider that as well.
I didn't put this in the notes, but I mean, it'd be really sad if, the weapons that talk, if they had like voiceover updates being like, no, what's happening to me? Like,
that would make it even more sad.
I know, and I feel that Xalatath would like the corruption, like the weapons that are kind of evil. Like, I see them being really happy about what's going on.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, yum, more evil energy for me.
Yeah, oh god. Well, I guess that's what we can wait to find out, hopefully in the near future.
Yeah, just to clarify before we reach the next topic,
Mm-hmm.
artifact weapons are not going away at the start of 735. You can transmog to all the appearances in Battle for Azeroth, but you just can't collect the Mage Tower one or get credit for Mythic 15 in Battle for Azeroth because it just wouldn't make sense with class changes and out leveling the content.
But you can still do
Um,
that with 7.35, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in 8.0, you could still like collect a new artifact and do balance of power and get all those other colors and tints in Battle for Azeroth and transmog to it during Battle for Azeroth. It's just Mage Tower and Mythic 15 that have special requirements.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, sorry, right there a second. Our next topic is allied races, which I know everyone in chat really likes. Debating and discussing and like analyzing every tiny bit of data. So we have a lot more stuff for you on allied races.
Yeah, allied races is always really interesting.
Yeah.
Every small little update. The first thing that we can do is answer some of the questions that we had of last week, which was, are the unlocks going to be account wide? And the answer is yes. And with account wide, that includes not faction specific. So if you've unlocked something on the Alliance side, we have now confirmed that if you create a Horde character, the same progress on your unlocking is still, it still stayed there. So that's good to know.
Yeah. Like I made like level ones and like open
Mm-hmm.
there's these banners on the PTR so you can just click on them and see your progress, and those are the images that you're showing right now. So the images are showing that I have fully complete progress from a character that didn't actually do the achievements herself.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah, so I've got the
so
slideshow
yeah,
here, just scrolling through them.
yeah. Just a reminder, if you really want to see your progress, if you go to Wowhead's attunement tracker, wowhead.com/attunement, or under the tools menu, you can just type in your character and Wowhead will tell you how close you are to meeting the requirements for every allied race.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Someone asked if
yeah.
it's still spoilers. I would say this is still spoilers.
Yeah,
It's kind of hard to say. Some people consider certain things more dangerous spoilers than others. But yeah, we decided to keep both the information on the artifact weapons and the allied races as spoilers.
yeah, and something in a few minutes is definitely going to be spoilers for, like story spoilers,
Yeah.
in the notes for this. So,
Mm-hmm.
um,
Another note on these here. The requirements was
yeah.
the update to the Nightborn, which now instead of Good Samaritan requires the Insurrection achievement, which I'll show in a picture right here. There, you can see that it's been updated from before saying Good Samaritan, sorry, Samaritan, and now
It's meant
it's
to be a tongue
Insurrection.
twister. Yeah. So to do insurrection, you have to do the main part of Good Samaritan, which is the quest line to aid the Nightfallen and grow the Arkandor tree. But there are a lot of side quests that you no longer need to do that are part of Good Samaritan. I know there is like the Vrykul quest line over on the Eastern Shore. Like you don't need to do that anymore. So while some people might think, oh man, I have to do Good Samaritan and insurrection, it's well. You actually don't have to do 5 parts of You don't have to do 5 parts of Good Samaritan
Mm-hmm.
anymore. So it doesn't really take that much more time. Plus, insurrection makes sense because you're actually finishing helping the Nightfallen get their source of mana back, and
Yeah.
you get a cool mount at the end of it. So
Yeah. So in terms of story, it also makes a lot more sense.
exactly.
So that's good. And in terms of the time taken, it shouldn't take much more time than doing the original full Good Samaritan. So
Yeah, if you've taken a break from WoW as well, you might think like, oh, everything was so staggered and took forever. The requirements for Good Samaritan for reputation have been removed, and also for insurrection. I remember every week a new quest would be available. All that is available at once, so you can just power through that in one day now.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, definitely do it. It's a really cool story, which
Yeah,
makes it so much
definitely.
sadder that they kept the alliance.
Yeah, I know.
You get so attached to them. So yeah.
Yeah, we got some. Sorry, you can go for it.
Oh no, no, go ahead. You were probably going to share questions or something, which we should answer because people like Oh, you're just
I was
on the
actually
next
gonna
section.
just.
Sorry. Yeah.
I was gonna go to the next
Okay.
part.
Yeah.
Annie's rolling horde. I am not rolling horde. I'm sorry, guys. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
not
staying
sorry.
Alliance too. Maybe I'll have an alt, but I don't know. I'm so sad. Maybe in 9.0 they'll be like factions aren't a thing, or you can swap factions and have spies. Which is kind of related to some of the data mined dialogue we're going to cover, where we have some more updates on Void Elves, including the Alliance not really thrilled with Void Elves. So
Yeah.
very interesting.
So before we delve into that, I want to remind you guys of the Void Elf introduction video. So let me play that. So in case you haven't seen it, or if you saw it but you may not remember it, just want to remind you of the darkness that we can see there. There we go.
The Void, a force of infinite hunger. Its whispers have broken the will of dragons and lured even the Titan's own children into madness. Sages and scholars fear the Void, but we understand a truth that they do not. That the Void is a power to be harnessed, to be bent by a will strong enough to command it. The Void has shaped us, changed us, but you will become its master. Wield the shadows as a weapon to save our world and defend the Alliance.
Sure. So the first quote we have, it's quote 3, right? The Void Elves not welcome in Cathedral of Light, right? Okay. So these are some data mine dialogue updates, and we don't know in what order they come in, but we try to piece them together and come up with a plausible story, and maybe we learn some hints about the future. And
Apparently I was muted. Sorry, guys.
Okay.
But what I was saying was, well, yeah, I think Perculia has now covered it, so you can just continue.
All right, so on this slide that's up, we are covering the Void Elves interacting in the Cathedral of Light. I'm not going to read the whole series of quotes, but reading it on the screen.
It's really sad.
Yeah, like it just sounds so disdainful. Like, oh, hello there, fellow member of the Alliance. I mean no disrespect, but I'm not just entirely sure the Cathedral is the most appropriate place for someone who indulges such unique proclivities. Like they don't want them there. They're just really mean to them.
And the next quote there, the light does not treat with the void elf. You should leave this place. Like, so straight to the point. Like, I feel so bad.
They don't do the blessing like, oh, be on your guard, friend, and may the light, well, may fortune favor you. Like, they're just, they're not really warming up to them. And even just when they say, you know, Lady Ilaria's name will only carry you so far, it's like, wait, so do they not respect Ilaria now? Is there going to be some faction unrest with her? Do they think that this was a bad idea to bring them to the Alliance?
It seems like they were not entirely on the same side. They're sort of very careful. Maybe they're scared. Could be scared of how the void could affect.
Yeah, we were talking about this before the show, and we drew the connection that in the Nightborn scenario, the Blood Elves are very concerned about Ilaria interacting with the Sunwell, and that's why they exile the Void Elves in the first place. So it's very troubling that now the humans in Stormwind are equally worried about Void Elves being in their cathedral.
Yeah.
So
it's like, it seems both the Horde and the Alliance are being very careful with this, sort of being afraid that something might happen.
exactly.
So I think that could probably hint towards something might actually happen.
Yeah,
We'll see.
like some light place might have some void damage done to it in the future because of all this foreshadowing on both factions now.
Mm-hmm. So that we
do you
can
want
look...
to cover the next one?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, we can check out the next one. But I was gonna say, so that we can look back sometime. No, it's okay. So that we can look back sometime in the future and be like, oh my god, they were right to be careful.
Exactly.
Here, I'm gonna show the second quote here. It's up now.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about it?
Oh, I wanted to give you time in the spotlight, but yeah, I can talk about this one. You can do the next one. So this next one is Locust Walker, and it's they're saying he's an intriguing fellow, and Ilaria seems to trust him to a point. And I think we can learn much from him so long as we remain wary of his true intentions. So I am imagining that one of the Void Elves from the scenario, maybe Magister Umbric, is, you know, in the Void Elf starting zone that we showed in the little intro cutscene. And Locust Walker, who was Ilaria's teacher in patch 7.3, is now training a new generation of Void Elves. But the last line is also concerning because we don't really know much about Locust Walker, and he seems to kind of have a interesting past. But we don't know his true motives. And it seems that the Void Elves, even though they're learning from him, are concerned about him as well. So maybe there'll be some unrest or tension or betrayal from him in the future, and they're setting up that story now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was giving you the thing so that I could do the fancy switching off the scenes and stuff. Okay. That's why.
Okay. Yeah, I just don't want to be like talking.
No, it's okay. It's okay. But yeah, so that was the second quote of the day that we wanted to mention to you guys. We thought it was pretty relevant and interesting. We got, I believe, one more interesting quote to talk about, which I can read. It's my turn in the spotlight. So we got this one here. Remember, control demands sacrifice. Power never comes without a price. You risk losing those closest to you in order to save them. This is the bargain we have made. And then it says, Ilaria looks away. And the interesting thing here is the fact that Ilaria is looking away, which implies that it's a very sort of uncomfortable topic for her, which raises a bit of like red light, like, this she's not very comfortable about this. Like, are we going to witness some kind of sacrifice in the near future, or like what is actually going on?
Yeah, in the short story, 1,000 Years of War, I believe that was the name of it. It covered what Ilaria and Turalyon were doing with Zira, and also how Ilaria turned towards the Void, and there were always these visions she was having of something terrible happening. Many of the visions were contradictory, but they were all never really ending well. And there was some sort of sacrifice, or like maybe she would go mad and serve the Void, or she pictured herself jumping off a cliff, or it would seem that she was betraying things and no one would understand, even though she was doing things for the right reasons. So this plays into the concerns that Ilaria is going to have a very dramatic turn in her story. So yeah. So those are some heavy things, but we have a fun update as well in this dialogue text.
So the next quote is coming up.
Yeah.
There we go. And I added some nice pictures for you guys to imagine how it looks like. The auction house dance party, I believe it's called. So for some of you guys who may have noticed, this was actually going on, if I'm not mistaken, during New Year's as well.
Yeah, that was a surprise. I love that. That was really... Yeah.
People were telling me about it, and I actually didn't listen to them. They're like, yeah, go to the auction house. And I was like, I don't know. Like, people are dancing, and I was like, so? I want to watch the fireworks. But then I saw it later, and I was like, oh, that actually looks really cool.
Yeah. So this is a micro holiday, and the next time is scheduled is July 22nd. And what Blizzard did is that they added in special lines that cheer on all of the allied races because the announcers periodically cheer on races to come up and dance on the dance floor. And it's just a really fun little micro holiday, and the lines are so happy, like, the moose is loose, high mountain torn, go!
Yeah.
So the Lightforged Shunai came here to dance and kill demons, and we're all out of demons. So they're just really fun.
And just because you're an avatar of darkness doesn't mean you can't get funky. Hit it, Void Elves. I think they're all really funny. Really
yeah,
cute.
I like how the illusion, no, it's just the dancing Nightborn. I like all the illusion jokes.
Uh-huh.
So,
and as you can see in the pictures, it's both Alliance and Horde was what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can go on.
There's a few miscellaneous things we're not going to cover in the show because they're more minor, but, you know, we do have the linked Wowhead post that covers all of the new dialogue. Like, for example, Nathanos Blightcaller, who's really snarky, has, like, another kind of mean line to the player. It doesn't really add anything special. It's just, you know, it's just nice that it's there. So definitely check that out. And
this was in the data mine dialogue, right?
Yeah, so basically we get this like gigantic mess of lines and we just organize them together to make sense of it, and it takes a lot of work, but it's pretty fun to do. So we hope you enjoy this segment, how we try to make sense and a narrative kind of out of chaos.
Yeah, no, I think it's great that you guys do that. And it's always fun to read through it and talk about it here on the show as well, so it's awesome.
Aww. Yay.
Well, I think that covers everything to do with spoilers, right?
Yep. Woohoo! So
spoiler tag is gone. There.
No more story updates.
Yeah. So now everyone can start listening and unmute. You're safe now.
Yep. We are
yeah, so the next topic, the first topic of non-spoiler related, is to do with the legendary situation. You guys may already know about the Purified Titan Essence and how there's been a change in how fast you obtain the Awakening Essences. There's been a lot of questions about this as well because people saw that the price of these... Wait, let me take one thing at a time. So in case you don't know, maybe Procuria should do this. I think you're better at like introducing the topic. Let's go for it.
So,
yeah.
What is a Purified Titan Essence?
Yeah.
So a Purified Titan Essence is an item that you can purchase from Arcanomancer Viridio on the 735 PTR. And what it does is that you buy it for Awakening Essences. The cost is changing. Annie will get to that. And then you buy this essence, you buy the thing, you click on it, and it turns into a random legendary for your loot specialization. And if you have everything for your class, it turns into just a legendary for a different class. Last week we learned that you turn in Awakening Essences to buy these items. And then this week we got some updates to it because the cost was A, too low, and B, there was no way for people that upgraded all of their current legendaries to keep earning Awakening Essences besides buying crafted legendaries. So Blizzard tried to fix how you earn them as well as change things around so you didn't feel pressured to farm like billions of Awakening Essences in advance to, you know, have multiple of these tokens stockpiled for patch day. So do you want to cover the clarifications then?
Yeah, so the clarification on that is, well, to not make people feel like they want to farm the Awakening Essences before the patch, they are, number one, increasing the rate at which you acquire these by around 6 times. So farming it now would be 6 times less efficient than doing it once the patch hits. So that's number one. And then to sort of equalize how much a legendary item costs, they've gone from costing 175 up to 1,000, which I can show you guys the picture of that on PTR.
And if you're like, wow, 1,000 is a lot, keep in mind that with rates increasing, something like the Mythic Dungeon Cache would give you 120 or something like that. So,
and they're also increasing the I believe, if I'm not mistaken, how to get the awakening essences, right?
Yeah.
Like there's a lot more sources for it as well.
yeah, there is a new source, I believe from PvP. Let me just pull this up quickly and read the blue post. Yeah, so Awakening Essences to first battleground win of the day in 735. They've made a note that you should not stockpile emissary bags. If you have a 7.3 emissary bag, it will not give you 735 amounts of essences. And I know people are going to ask about this, so I'm just going to say that Blizzard has clarified that this getting the item from the essence does not affect your chance to earn a legendary through other methods, so this does not play into bad luck protection. So
that's good. So you don't have to worry like, okay, no, I'm really close to my bad luck protection. I don't want to buy one. Right. Don't worry about it. You can just go and buy it.
Yep. And they also hotfixed it so if you already have done the upgrade quest, you can keep earning Awakening Essences at the slower rate now, but at least you won't feel like, oh, I was penalized for being good and upgrading everything. I can't, do anymore now. I'm sad. So you can continue to earn them, but just, don't kill yourself trying to earn them. Because it will be so much easier in 735.
Yeah. And just to clarify, there's no quest anymore. It's just going to be, I guess, sort of like a currency for you that you're just carrying.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think this helps for a lot of people, especially people who find themselves always, I guess, being unlucky, because in this way you can essentially farm it. You can, well, you can't exactly decide which legendary to get, but you will get one which is meant for your, I believe it's spec, right? It's for your loot spec.
Your loot spec. So, just make sure you select that before you use it, because you don't want to be like, oh, I'm in tank loot spec, but I want the DPS legendary. Like, make sure you're in that DPS spec.
Yeah. So I think it's a great change for people who found themselves always very unlucky. And this also means on alts you can just simply do your daily, daily heroic or daily other activities just to start farming or stacking up on the Awakening Essences to get some legendaries.
Yeah, and I think if you try to focus on it, you would get a legendary like once every 2 weeks with this method. So, that's an improvement over feeling totally at the mercy of RNG.
And it's on top of what you already have, since it doesn't affect your bad luck protection. It's,
exactly.
You can still get legendaries the regular way, and then you get this as an additional source.
Right, so if you have like 2 legendaries to go, you could be sort of guaranteed to get them within the month if you farm hard and you get one every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Cool. So our next topic is we had a few PTR builds. We had a few smaller bits of miscellaneous news, and some of them were still kind of funny or, interesting stuff we want to cover, even though it's not like, blue post worthy or, cinematic worthy. So the first thing is kind of funny and sad if you want to pull the images up. I
got them here.
Okay, great. So what you are seeing is the Seething Shore Battleground loading screens. And the first time we data mined this, people were really interested in it because the art style was cartoonish and brighter than usual for a loading screen. And if you're part of like the Reddit crowd and you like memes, the Horde Shaman was casting lightning, and the Shaman, it sounds so like boring and not funny when you explain it seriously, as a side note. But in the Battle for Azeroth cinematic, a Horde Shaman takes down a famous Alliance character with lightning, and he was nicknamed Zappy Boy, so people were very excited that Zappy Boy was now on the Seething Shore, and yay, story continuity, and look how happy he is casting lightning above his head. The next build then was more somber in tone with darker colors. It wasn't as bright, and Zappy Boy was no longer casting lightning.
So this is the one. I just want to point out, since it's a slideshow and the pictures are moving, this is the latest one, not anymore, where you can see that Zappy Boy is gone, and so is all the other characters as well.
And the art style is like more polished, and there's trees, so maybe he turned them all into trees. So lots of art styles changing since the start.
Hashtag save Zappy Boy.
Yeah, a lot of people are sad about this. And even the people that didn't really care about Zappy Boy were like, hey, like it was cool that Blizzard was experimenting with different art styles in the loading screens. So, you know, I think that the last one, it's a very pretty picture, but I do like how kind of warm, golden, yellowy tones the original one had, and it's cool to actually see characters in a loading screen for a change. Like,
I really like the characters as well, so it's sad.
We're fighting for Azerite, you know, we're charging towards, that's the point of the battleground. It's kind of not empty.
Yeah, and especially with Zappy Boy becoming, like, a thing, then it's, like, extra sad now.
I know, it's like...
But it does look pretty. It does look pretty.
The palm trees are very nicely rendered. So besides that, in the PTR, there were some updates to allied race. This is a tongue twister. So allied race racial abilities. And the main thing you need to know is that some had their names changed, and the Void Elf ones are shadow damage focused now, and the Nightborn ones are arcane damage focused now, and before that they were sort of mixing the magic schools together, and that makes sense from a lore perspective why, you know, the Void Elves would only have shadow damage reduced as opposed to arcane.
And something I'm not sure if that was a change or if it was like that before, but the Nightborns having the racial of 1% damage, magical damage increase. And for people who min-max, that's a big deal. It's 1% damage difference, which again gives Horde the sort of advantage of having a racial that increases their damage.
Yep, that's definitely something I've seen a lot of people talking about. I wonder if they'll further update this.
It'll be interesting to see.
They changed the wording to be like, yeah, this definitely increases your damage dealt. So yeah, we'll see what's happening with that.
Horde
also,
forever. Yeah, more hordes.
Yeah, just rub that in that the Horde get the Nightborn and the Nightborn get the damage dealing ability.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good point. It's like 2 times.
No, so
hitting us even harder.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there were some other information on the latest PTR. For example, at the minimum requirements being increased, probably for getting us ready for the Battle for Azeroth tech requirements.
Yeah, some of these people are saying that Macs have different API systems, and Blizzard is simplifying things so they don't have to support lots of platforms. But I'm sure we'll hear an official post soon if this goes through. But the configuration warnings are that your graphics API must require DirectX 11 or Metal. Your current system needs a 64-bit operating system, and your graphics card needs at least shader model 5 up from 3. So if you're thinking of buying a system for Battle for Azeroth, do take these into account.
And now we got some fun stuff for all the hunters out there.
Yay!
Put some
I
pictures
love this
together.
post.
Yeah. We got some new pets for hunters to tame, or new beasts for hunters to tame. Let me go straight into the pictures of the first ones. We got the here. We got the Basilisk, the Panthara, the Manta Ray, Talbuk, and the Silithid. And we got the slideshow running through them all.
Yeah, I wanted to say a special shout out to Petopia. While Wowhead data mines a lot of the models and names of upcoming pets, the folks at Petopia comb through the data and figure out where all of the pets are located and if they need any special things to do as part of taming them. So they're really pretty. My favorite one is the Red Panthara.
Yeah, mine too.
Yeah, it's so pretty. It's the ancient dust cloak by the Grove of Narua in Krokun. And if you want this pet, you need the fresh Talbuk meat because it's a Panthara. So you have to kill the Talbuk, get the meat, and then get the Panthara. And the Talbuk is super pretty too because one of the Argusian Reach mounts has the same tint, so you can have the matching
Oh yeah.
mount pet. I think that's super cute. It's the Sable Ruin Strider one. And
I thought that was a fun little detail. Have your pets and mount match.
I know a part of the hunter community really loves trying to do the triple thing of like, do you have the battle pet and then the mount and then the hunter pet out at once. I love stuff like that.
Yeah, I do the same with my warlock. Like I have my infernal and then I mount my green infernal mount from Gul'dan and then I try to find something as similar as possible battle pet as well. It's always very fun to do that.
Yeah, like the Minfernal.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's always really fun. Yeah. There were also some more pets data mined. These are specifically for the allied races. Let's go into those pictures.
Yeah. So these are not pets that, you know, we've hopped on the PTR and tamed. We can't even make allied races on the PTR, but based on the data, all 4 races known so far have the hunter class. So we've got the Great Eagle for High Mountain, the Lightforged Talbuk for the Draenei, and these next 2 are pretty interesting. The Void Elf have the Void Stalkers, which I believe people are not sure if this is an error or not, but it has a special class. So people are like, oh, do they get a new type of hunter pet family? And they're very cool and glowing. And then the Nightborn get a Mana Saber, which is categorized as a cat, which is interesting because currently Mana Sabers are spirit beasts. So you have to be in Beast Mastery spec to get one. So is this another cool Nightborn perk where they get like the cool looking cat without having to be Beast Mastery spec? So just keep adding all that unique Nightborn stuff. It's just killing me.
Yeah.
I know.
More and more Nightborn stuff. Well, at least the Hordes will be very happy.
Exactly. Even though we both play Alliance, we're like, oh, look at the stuff that the Horde gets. It's so cool.
Well, we have to still try and be not too biased. Like, I feel bad for the Horde viewers. So, yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy for you.
Yeah. I feel like we're biased towards the Alliance. We're like, oh, the Horde, like, racials are cooler. Like, the Horde pet is cooler. Yeah.
And the similar thing there with the Mana Saber pet. Well, I guess there's a lot of other sort of... I actually don't know. I don't play a hunter. Is there any Mana Saber pet that they can get already?
I don't believe so. I was checking the Wowhead and Petopia pages earlier, and they were like, oh, like, you know, here's different Mana Saber colors. These are Spirit Beast models. So when I also made the post, a lot of people were asking, they're like, oh, so like our Mana Saber is now cats instead of Spirit Beasts. And I had to say, no, just this one is a cat. The rest of them are Spirit Beasts right now.
Okay.
So...
so they would be under a different category, but they can still have them.
Yeah, so it's like a cool perk, like, oh, you know, we made one pet that was not a spirit beast with this model that you can only get by rolling this race.
Yeah, gotcha.
I mean, the Void Elf one's pretty cool and unique too. I just know that, you know, hunters get attached to, you know, to their pets and cats, and like people really like Mana Sabers, and you know, a Void Stalker is not as cuddly as a cat.
No, it still looks pretty cool though.
Yeah, speaking of the cat, I have no idea where he is. Like,
we haven't
been
seen him since the beginning. Where is Brightpaw?
I know. I'm like, hey, I'm talking about cats. Where are you? So
he's not understanding the signal.
I know. He was really, when I was trying to type Seething Short Notes, he was really into attaching himself to my arm and not letting me type about Zappy Boy.
She was trying to write one sentence for like 5 minutes or something. It does not take 5 minutes to type one sentence. He was taking over the keyboard. And
typing his own thoughts on the Seething Short involved lots of numbers.
So maybe we could go on to the next thing if you'd like to. We got the...
Do we have any questions related to...
let's say questions before, indeed.
I have a few questions related to what we're just going to cover. So anything with release dates, we have some more tinfoil hat speculation that we're going to cover in a minute, but we just want to make sure we are covering all the basics here.
I actually had to ask Percula last week. I was like, what does tinfoil hat mean? I'd never really used that phrase before, and I guess it's very common in America, and I just... I don't know. It's just something I never used, and she had to explain it to me, and I was like, oh, that actually makes a lot of sense. And now I know. Now I'm in on the jokes, right? Now I'm up to date.
Yeah. So Dark Legends BE says he typed this to Sass. Where can we see the new character models and whether we have qualified for it? So on Wowhead, you go to wowhead.com/attunement and we'll tell you how far you are. But when 735 hits or whenever the embassy buildings are phased into Stormwind and Argrimmar, when you go into these special buildings in the cities, they'll have little banners and you click on the banners and it tells you if you've done the requirements or not. So you can't see that on live servers, but if you log on PTR, you can see that.
And that attunement tool is actually really good.
Oh,
just yeah, it's really useful. So I really recommend you guys to check it out if you're wondering how much progress you've made.
Yeah. Lone Samurai was also asking about artifacts. He was saying, so, you know, can we keep working on them if we do this quest to, you know, see the cutscene and why we retire them? And that makes me think that anything we see happen to them will be cosmetic, because why would anybody do the story quest to watch them getting affected by what happens if it would actually affect you? So but yeah, I think there will still be more to the story. I know there's an encrypted cutscene, encrypted meaning we can't do any data mining about it, related to the Legion epilogue. So I think that will share even more of the story. So yeah, do you have any questions on your end, or should we go into the tinfoil hat?
I think we can go over to the tinfoil hat.
Okay.
No questions here.
Yeah. So a few days ago, I wrote a blog on Wowhead, just kind of speculating on the release date for 735. Like, no hard data, but just being like, well, you know, there's a holiday on February 13th on the PTR, so Blizzard probably wants it before then. And this one user, who I can't pronounce it, GKMNADSZ, he made an interesting observation about one mob that might actually explain, or it bit into the theory that the patch could be on the 16th. And basically he said, check out the Zorathian cultist on the Broken Shore to find out the release date of the new patch. They are counting down the time. They were doing it before 732. What's up?
I have a picture for this, yes. Okay, sorry, you can go on.
So they were doing it before 732, and I followed them every day. And then when Antorus came, the time was over. After Antorus, there was no countdown. Now this has started again. I last checked 15 days ago. And at this time, there were 700,000 seconds left on the 8th of January, which is equivalent to 8 days. So we tested this out, and we can confirm that's true. They're fell channeling cast. If you use an add-on like Quartz, you can see the exact duration of the cast. And today, there are around 120 hours left on their cast, no matter what server you go on. If you're US or EU, any cultist on the Broken Shore has this super long channel of the exact same duration. So
yeah,
people want to speculate that maybe the patch is on the 16th. It could also mean that maybe the final LFR wing of Antorus opens on the 16th, so they're very excited about this. Or it could be nothing, but it's just like a really weird, fun detail. Like, why is Mob? Like,
I love when Blizzard does this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I'm really glad this person brought this forward. It's like such a fun little detail.
Yeah.
I think 16 might be a bit too soon for the release date of the patch. Personally, that's what I think. But it does still raise questions like, okay, if it's not the patch day, then what is it? Is it simply because of the LFR, the last wing of the LFR being out, or what is it? Because with the last wing of LFR, just as a reminder for those who don't know, so if you killed Argus, you don't see Argus anymore in the sky, and that's something that happens to you personally on your character.
Right.
It doesn't change for everyone else, but as the last wing of LFR comes out, that becomes a permanent change for everyone. So
right.
it's worth noting that part.
Sargeras. So we think that when Antorus opens, like a similar thing will happen related to the zone that was attacked in the cinematic. Like right now, you see the change zone if you've killed Argus, but if you haven't, you don't. But when the final wing opens, then everyone sees the change. So I thought that. So I've always thought that this was going to hit on the 16th because when we were just showing the new Hunter models and the Silithid. That model is used for new mounts that you can use during Call of the Scarab, which is the week of the 16th. So I was thinking that usually if Blizzard, like, creates something, they want to include that in the content soon after. And, it would be nice if that fit in, but I guess if they missed it, it's not the end of the world. But I thought it would make sense maybe that the Silithid story would continue in 735 now that the LFR story is complete. But if it doesn't hit on the 16th, I really think it has to hit before February 13th because that's when Ulduar Time Walking is scheduled on the PTR. And that would be a huge missed opportunity because it would be several months before Ulduar Time Walking, Wrath Time Walking would come around again.
Is the Call of the Scarab, what are the exact dates for that?
It's the 21st.
Is it the weekend? Okay.
Yeah, it's 21st through 23rd, and that coincides when people first open the gates of AQ. And like it's not the biggest like I don't get the mount that I can only use during the holiday. But I just thought like based on how fast Blizzard goes with stuff, they would want to include it. But I'm not so sure with the 16th now because usually when there's a PTR build, when it's like totally ready and polished, on the lower left side of the loading screen, it will say release instead of test. And it still says test. And, it's like Thursday and, it doesn't say release yet. So it makes me think that maybe they're not quite ready. And maybe they initially wanted to hit the Call of the Scarab deadline and they won't. So it would be before Ulduar at least, because that would be a huge thing if they missed.
No, it really makes sense with the mounts that you just mentioned, actually, with the Silithids. I guess we'll see. 16th is soon. It would be 16th for US, right, and then 17th for EU.
Yeah, I mean, like content is so staggered that, if the patch hits, it could just be like, okay, well.
Oh yeah, it doesn't mean everything is in straight away.
Yeah, like I could see them, it's like allied races are not coming in 735. Like maybe they'd be pre-order, but we don't even know what pre-order is yet. So, but yeah, my guess would be the 16th or really pushing to get it before February 13th. I almost wonder if the legendary stuff, which was added at the very end, if like that was kind of rushed and maybe they're taking some time to, bug proof what's going on with legendaries. So. So kind of fun speculation. And thanks again. I love Wowhead. Users that leave great comments, it really is the core of the site and helps power it. And just a really nice idea, like people, sharing information with each other to help and, bring excitement.
Working together. Yeah, no, I think it's great. Like seeing how this user just like mentioned it, and then now we mention him even though we can't really pronounce his name. I think it's really cool how it's like people coming together to sort of speculate and make sort of guesses on what can happen. I think it's really cool.
Yeah. So we are going to cover some live news updates, which means that the show is getting to the kind of the
Close
end,
to the
ending. Last call on the giveaway, and watch chat to see if you win. And
so to enter,
yeah, go ahead.
So to enter the giveaway, I thought you were gonna skip that part. Sorry.
No, go ahead. Yeah.
So to enter the giveaway, you type Puffer in the chat. The purple Puffer is a TCG pet that you can win, and we are drawing the winner at the end of the show. So just a quick reminder of that in case you have not done it yet.
Yeah. So, so, if you're new watching the show, we like covering the PTR stuff at the front because maybe that's not as well known, and that's kind of unique stuff to Wowhead, and then we want to cover what you should do on live servers towards the end of the show or any community news going on. So, we talked about some art before, and now we have another art update related to the 13th anniversary, actually.
Yeah, and I've got a really cool GIF to show you guys.
Yeah. So what you are seeing is the winning artwork for the Blizzard WoW 13th Anniversary Art Contest. The winner is Tim Guo, and he is showing the opening of the gates of Encourage, and he entered in the digital artwork and won, but then for fun he made this animated GIF showing like all the colors and action swirling around, which I thought was really cool. I found it on his ArtStation account, and I decided it was cool and needed some attention.
Yeah, I love this GIF. It's amazing. And the art and everything, I'm not sure if you guys noticed, but they're carrying these boxes of like bandages and like meat and similar. So it's like a little reminder of what the quest was all about back with the Gates of Encourage. And it's really cool. It's like it gives a sort of nostalgic feeling to everyone who may have been there when they were farming all those materials for their server to be able to progress in the quest.
Yeah, I'm sure the timing wasn't intentional, but with all this talk about Call of the Scarab coming up and, you know, the data mining and these mounts and the anniversary of AQ, it does, like, seeing this artwork does tie in really well to everyone already reminiscing about AQ. So, yeah, and then the last thing we wanted to cover are events going on. We always cover the regular events on Tuesdays, and Panzer does a video highlighting, you know, like the weekly battleground and the world boss and all that. But the really interesting thing going on this week is that the Dark Moon Fair is back in town. And it's really a good time to work on reputations with allied races. For example, the Void Elves need Exalted with Argusian Reach, and I know a lot of people find that difficult because it's mostly emissaries, and there's like very few world quests up. So
it takes time to get that reputation.
So if you ride the carousel or you get a top hat for 10 tickets, you get a 10% reputation and experience buff, which, you know, you should totally use before you turn in, you know, a Void Elf emissary. And yeah, so just to recap, it's the Void Elf or Argusian Reach, the Light Forged Janai or Army of the Light, the Nightborn or Nightfallen, and High Mountain Tauren are obviously the High Mountain one.